Hey, everybody. I am super excited to have one of the coolest groups I've ever seen here, the Vocara team, with me today. Out of MIT, Ethan Siegel, Drew Ross. Welcome to our conversation on your story, your company founding, and all the great stuff that we're going to talk about. Excited?
Yeah, happy to be
Hell
here.
yeah. Yeah, last time I was in here was collecting some data for our voice models. So that was fun.
You're just recording audio on the mics?
Yeah, I was literally just sitting in that chair right there, just talking to myself for like 2 hours.
Okay. That's a little psycho.
Yeah,
it's actually too high quality, too. The mics in here are really, really good. So it makes it too easy for your AI.
There's not enough echo.
So I want to get well, we can talk about the company first or your founder backstory first. I want to talk about your founder journey first, but it's totally up to you.
Sure, yeah.
Founder journey?
Yeah.
Okay. So you're from Texas.
Yes. Yeah, I'm from Austin originally. Probably the most tech-forward part of Texas. So.
And you're from Maryland.
Yeah.
See, I did my homework. I have my stuff here. I would, first of all, I really want to understand your decision to go to MIT, because you're both MIT guys. And like, I know for me, it was like from, I guess, about my sophomore year in high school, all I wanted to achieve was I need to get to MIT, but I don't know if it was that way for you guys.
Yeah, I'm happy to share first. You're going to see this theme a lot, but we have similar backstories when it comes to like how we found ourselves in this room and then how we found ourselves starting a company together. But we were both recruited to play sports to come to MIT.
Where they actually found you, like in high school, and MIT sends out recruiters? That's kind of hard.
And I think we probably shared a similar experience where we hadn't really thought about MIT until we decided to start to like be recruited to play sports. It was one of those things for me where I was like in Texas, so far away from the Northeast, I didn't even understand that there was a whole nother world out there. And, but yeah, through sports kind of got exposure to the people at MIT, especially in like the sports community. And I was like, man, there's a whole world out here of like future entrepreneurs, future people that are, doing really well at whatever they're doing, whether that's, sports in school, or like, hell, we have people playing professional sports now, or starting companies, doing really great in their craft, whether they're an entrepreneur or not. Yeah, just met my community when I came on like recruiting visit and stuff like that. And from there, it was like, man, like I really, really want to go here, and then got in, and the rest is history. So
that's interesting. Similar story.
Yeah, I think like I'd always been, more technical, more into the math side of things, and so obviously I knew I wanted to go to like a good school. And then the sports actually was sort of like a secondary thing into that, because I'd always played a ton of sports growing up, and then through high school, baseball, basketball, football.
You're one of those guys. Like a Tom Brady kind of guy.
No big deal. Yeah, JV 3-sport athlete, add it to the resume. But then I didn't really have too much ambition to play in college, and then but I knew I wanted to go to a really good school, and then I actually had a really, really influential coach in high school who was like, hey man, like, like this stuff is you can use football to help you with your academic goals as well. And I was like, oh yeah, I never really thought about that. And so I'd been applying to everywhere, the Harvards, the Princetons, all the Ivy Leagues. And no, I don't think MIT football is not sending out recruits to games.
Yeah, no, I was going to ask. I'm pretty sure they don't send out like on campus high school recruiters.
Yeah, I think it's a lot of inbound, which is exactly what I did. I mean, there's like a form on the website, and you put in your ACT math score, and then if it's they have like if less than 35 reject, otherwise we can send them an email. Which is curious actually, because like a lot of the recruiting is just like through the MIT brand, is like kids who have really good grades, who are really smart, but also good at sports, because like they don't really have the admission sway that say like a Harvard or a Princeton does, right? Where they can let in, the A band kids, the B band kids, the C band kids. Like Harvard can let in, however many kids that might have, a less than a 3.0 GPA, but they're just really good at football, and you can get like 5 of those. MIT, it's like the exact opposite. It's like you get an offer, and then like it's still up to admissions. I mean, it helps your chances by some amount, but at the end of the day, it's still like the admissions office that's making the final decision.
Yeah, actually, Daniel's high school, Pingree, one of the kids got into Harvard, and he knew he was in Harvard like 4 months before even the application process. It's like it's not even part of the normal process.
Yeah, and it's exactly the opposite in MIT. I remember like when I was getting recruited for baseball, we literally had like the golf cart conversation driving around the outfield, warning track. And our recruiting coordinator was like, we're going to give you all the support that we can, but there are no guarantees that you're getting into this school until you get the acceptance letter. But what that does do is it selects for very exceptional individuals on the sports teams. And Drew and I met through a fraternity that was like mostly athletes.
We got to clarify that. You didn't say it. But baseball and football, so you weren't on the same teams. And you had to be here probably early August, mid-August.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the baseball guys don't show up until normal time, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there's no overlap in the first few weeks, so I guess Deke is the first place you guys met?
Yes.
Yeah, well, actually, we, even before that, so I rushed Deke in the fall of my freshman year, Ethan rushed in the spring, but we were actually in the same intro to physics class in 801 together, in the same Friday problem solving group. So for the viewers at home, that like in 801, it's like every Friday you have like a group that you just get randomly paired with, and they give you some, physics problem. Yeah, and then you're up on a whiteboard trying to solve it.
It's just mind-bendingly impossible.
Yeah.
I still remember looking at like the next group's whiteboard and like copying down as much as possible.
Oh, that's okay. So your first contact, so you didn't even rush at the same time. So your first contact was 801, and so you're already friends. And then you rushed later, you said?
Yep. Yeah, in the freshman spring, and then so we moved in at the same time our sophomore fall.
So I got a question for you about Deke, actually, because a lot of the frat houses are producing tons of startups now. But I think you guys are like the first coming out of Delta Kappa Epsilon at MIT, and there's a whole bunch now like here. Yeah. But I think you guys are the ones that cracked the ice. Were there any role models or inspirations for you in the house from the prior years? And I mean, no, there's a lot of very successful people. I'm not saying that, but people who actually like kind of like the Cursor team or any of these other teams that found each other on campus and then started a company right after graduation. Were there any?
I think the thing about Deke is like the people ahead of us, I still remember like the Course 6 group chat that we've had that like spans like 10 years before us or something like that.
Yeah.
There were a ton of really successful engineers and not necessarily founders themselves. But
wait, you have a house Course 6 group chat?
Yeah, it's kind of died out. I think we might have killed it accidentally. We forgot to add people.
And then there was a huge disconnect too between like COVID. Like it was kind of like everyone before COVID and then everyone after, because there's like that 2-year gap. So even like the guys in the class above us, like we're super tight with them. And I guess everyone we lived in the house with, but like everybody who wasn't in the house, like who was a senior during COVID, like that chain got completely broken.
Yeah. Actually, I didn't think about that. Spring of 2020 was completely dead. And I think fall too, right?
Yeah.
So you guys both missed a full season. Was that your freshman year?
No, that was that would have been our senior year.
Of high school,
High school.
Of high school,
So,
okay.
we were the first class
you got
to start
clobbered
fresh.
in high school.
Yeah.
But what happened is there was like a serious disconnect between like our class and like the class above us was kind of looped in with us too, and the class before them. And so we have a founding engineer, Bennett, who is actually like one of the few people that we know really well to have experienced MIT before COVID.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, I never thought about that, but so many things on campus are chains of events, and certainly the fraternities are a chain, but also like a Course 6 group chat. I never thought about it, but that's also any disruption in that chain is potentially tragic if things don't get rebooted.
Yeah, it's crazy. In that group chat, you can like scroll the way up to like 2018 and you see like how crazy the hiring was in big tech and stuff like that. It's like dishing out free internships and stuff like that.
Like, yo, I just solved this leak code medium and now I got a full-time offer at Google for 2 years when I graduate.
And so like you fast forward to like our experience, even hiring for internships like sophomore year and stuff like that. It was definitely a different environment, and we knew that we were coming into a world where it's like, hey, if you're really good at computer systems, and then, ChatGPT came out right around the same time. If you're really good at computer systems, like there is a huge opportunity to go do something on your own, not follow the big tech pathway that like was pulling people into that motion for so long.
Yeah.
All of a sudden it became the cool thing, the opportunity to start companies.
Yeah. Well, I mean, there's double whammy. Like the valuations are up 10x or more. The time to success is down to like, it used to be decades, now it's 2 years, 3 years. So like the math is overwhelming now in terms of like a startup being the right thing to do. But then the other side of it, entry-level hiring at Google and Meta is zero.
Yeah.
So it's like this perfect storm of like, why not do a company together? So actually, you guys have hired a whole bunch of people recently too. It's probably exactly that dynamic, right?
Oh yeah, I think when we got started, it was like we really like decided that we were going all in like the end of our senior fall.
Yeah.
And the one thing that we agreed on from the start was like part of the reason we're getting into this is to build something great with our friends. And that meant not just me and Drew, but our first hires and like the core group that we're going to be building this thing with. And like, if there's one thing that I'm more proud of than anything else that we've been able to do is really assemble that team. And like, we've been able to, you know, tell a story that makes sense in people's minds and get people to understand where we're headed and ultimately buy into that vision. And now we're going 8 strong and really headed in the same direction. And that's really powerful.
Well, yeah, we just had our partner meeting, our Link Ventures partner meeting, and all we ever talk about is team dynamics. You guys are like the ultimate poster child for doing it right. But we used to talk about market opportunities and business plans all the time, but there's so much backlog of opportunity now, it's irrelevant. It's only the teams. Every team will succeed if it's a great team. So it's like it's just golden time to talk about exactly what you just mentioned. So give me like the summary of who you've hired in like the last, 6 months, 9 months?
Sure, yeah. So we can just run down the list here. I guess our first hire was older than us, poached him from Andoril.
Nice.
And then who was next after that? The next 2 were graduating at the same time as us.
These are all MIT.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. So the next 2 played baseball with Ethan, scooped them up as soon as they graduated. They both took like an extra semester for their masters. So we got to them like halfway through that semester and like, all right, we'll finish. We're like, all right, come on as an intern for now. They somehow still like intern who's still like full time. And then plus like,
and they still finished their masters?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that was, I don't know how those guys did that. That was crazy. Like every single night, 3 a.m., they're still just like churning out PRs.
Did they have baseball eligibility during that Masters year, or were they done with it?
They actually both did, and neither played because they were kind of juggling the Masters and working with us.
Okay, so they blew off one season. That's probably a good choice in hindsight.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And then I guess the one after that as well, same deal. He was also older than us, played lacrosse though, was finishing up his Masters. And then we just scooped up from this graduating class another one from our fraternity. Who am I missing? And then
one more coming from undisclosed financial institution. We just got another big hire. So
a quant trader guy?
Yeah. It's always nice.
That's the best feeling. For me, it's the best thing in the world when you pull somebody out of quant trading.
Exactly. It's
like this dead end, like the depression rate of that career path is so high.
Yeah.
It's like, hey, come on, build something real.
It's like you can either retire when you're 35 easily and hate your life, or you could come do something really cool and intellectually stimulating with your friends and, have a huge part in it.
Well, and actually have friends too. The quant traders notoriously get put into these little veal cabins and work by themselves or all compartmentalized. And it's just the fun factor is so much higher when you're building a real company together.
Yeah, and that's the biggest feedback we got when we were going after our early hires is like, hey, like even if all else was equal, like I would rather work with you guys than go into a traditional corporate job. But like the opportunity nowadays with AI is like all else is not equal. Like you should want to be a part of this and you should equally want to be a part of this with your friends. So.
Yeah, and I think too, this is like as I recall from undergrad, like the sentiment, like the thing to do after college at MIT particularly was going to quant, or I guess big tech was probably like the generation before us. So a lot of people still wanted to do that.
Well,
but
wait,
like,
where were you guys relative to Sam Bankman-Fried? Was he still out of jail when you guys were like freshmen sophomores? Or
I do remember reading the article of him going to jail. It was like
how old? Do you remember how old you were?
I think we were sophomores.
Okay. Because there was a whole like quant trading's been huge, like you were saying. But before that, there was a whole like 4-year crypto. Like half the people are like, I'm not going to build anything. I'm just going to trade crypto. I'm going to build a new crypto. I'm going to do a new. It's like, oh God, this is so waste of brain cells, But I guess that came and went when Sam went to jail. And they probably don't talk about it at the house. Right? It's all buried under them.
Yeah, maybe a couple guys. They've all gone insane though.
Okay.
Yeah, so quant obviously is like the thing to do. I mean, we took like this GPU class our senior year, like how to infrastructure, how to program in CUDA, et cetera, all the abstractions there.
That sounds like a cool class. Wait, what's that class?
It was a special subject.
Yeah, it was a graduate level class that like we both had some bandwidth to take a class, and we were like, what's the thing to learn right now?
That's immensely practical. So coding in CUDA as an actual credit class.
Yeah, so our final project in that class, we took like a traditional like LoRa adapter.
Yeah.
And we built a custom kernel for it and like proved out all the optimizations.
I swear to God, like only MIT can you, like this is so insanely awesome. I love that, like the grease under your fingernails, everything is ultra practical.
Yeah,
That's so cool.
Get in here and actually beat the state of the art on this niche algorithm here.
Yeah.
So that was super interesting. But yeah, that class though goes to show you, guess who bought all the GPUs? Jane Street. It's literally, this class is sponsored by Jane Street.
Yeah. Yeah, no, they have proprietary data centers. They have their own models. They have every ad on the Lex Friedman podcast. They're like
classic.
Just absolutely. I mean, they're making a huge amount of money, but still the startup numbers have bypassed them.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the changing sentiment. I noticed that towards the end of our career there. And then also like, I guess I'm kind of unk now a year out, but if I still go back there and talk to some of the kids, it's like definitely a much more of like, people know it's like the thing to do right now. And I think that's, you look at Stanford and you have everyone over there, like the thing to do is drop out of Stanford and go to YC. And it's been like that for a while, but like, I didn't really sense much of that at MIT in like the early years, but starting to like, particularly as, the capital flows in and then the people that are younger than us see us and others like in our peer group in our classes go out and raise these big rounds and then hire all their friends and be like, oh, wow. So I can work with my friends, do something cool and still get paid like the same amount.
Yeah.
So that's sort of been the shift I've noticed which is a good thing, I think, is like, kids gravitating more towards like doing something entrepreneurial, right? Actually building value for something they want to do and they believe should be in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's multiple independent groups of people at MIT that I would have, before 6 months ago, I would have bet like all my money that they would have ended up in quant trading, and they're all starting companies.
Oh,
and so
cool.
that was the turning point in my head where I was like, okay, this is legit. Like people are seeing the opportunity here.
Yeah. That is so cool. Well, I think also you've got the ability to have a workforce of effectively millions or billions of people that are all AI agents. And so you can create massive amounts of value. When you get into the quant trading version of that, it's kind of a zero-sum game. So you're racing toward mostly coding yourself out. So it's not obvious how that builds over time, but in building stuff with AI that benefits humanity, it's really clear how that can grow exponentially to trillions and trillions of dollars. Mm-hmm. So it just feels like you don't want to be in that bounded world right now. You want to be in the unbounded world. But that's just my take on it. Like Deke, when I was on campus, Deke was really, really famous for that MIT Harvard game hack. Which is still in the MIT Museum. It's like the founding example of the great hacks of all time. But the culture was so entrepreneurial and like, kind of free form. And I don't know if it's still like that or not. Kind of feels like it is based on your stories, but
yeah,
tell me.
We can both give our own take on what the big sell is for Deke. But to be honest, like when I joined Deke, the reason I joined is because I felt like there were two things. One was a community of people that I felt like understood me. That was one. And, fast forward to now, that's incredibly important for building trust in a company and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But the second thing was the willingness to think outside the box when it came to, like what's your career path, but also like what does a Saturday night look like? And like that goes all the way back to the Harvard Yale hack and stuff like that. I think it's that same ethos.
Yeah. I would echo a lot of the same. I think the biggest thing by far is just like, the tight knittedness of the group. Like everybody lives in their house, which I think is pretty unique. That's
very unique to MIT, actually.
Yeah,
it's a really cool aspect of MIT because I feel like the people who come out of a house or a club or whatever, but you're learning to rush, you're learning to budget, you're learning to lead, you're learning to deal with the CPs. All of those skills exactly poured over to starting a company. And in the old days, it would only scale to like 30 people or 40 people because that's what you're used to. But now a 40-person company can be worth, like, look at Mercor, it can be worth $10 billion.
Yeah.
So that comfort zone, the value of that comfort zone has gone up like, at least one or two orders of magnitude. So it's just such a great learning experience. But then you get to these other schools, like we have some Dartmouth SAEs here, but nobody lives in the house. And so it's not the same thing. So then it's not really like a company. It's sort of like a party thing.
Yeah, you don't build that same grid either. Like I know if the toilet seats at the office ever somehow became unattached from the toilet, we'd be so equipped to deal with that.
You'd be so ready for it.
Yeah, the first 3 months of working full time on Vocara as well, we were still living in the house, like moving out of
Forgot about that.
into like the new apartment, and that was quite the grind because it was hot and like half the ACs were leaking. And
yeah, we're gonna have to do a total. Well, you guys can be the driver for this, but a total renovation like PBE did next door.
Yeah.
Just top to bottom renovation. Because I remember you guys at one point were saying like the showers, you have a choice between hot or cold, but you can't mix the two. So it's either scalding or freezing.
Yeah. There was one time it was like a record low at night, and baseball season was just starting. It was February 1st or something like that. I was freezing. Like half of our radiators in the house weren't working, and I was like, I cannot wait to wake up and take a hot shower and be ready for practice. And I turned on the shower, and it wouldn't get hot.
Like an icicle came out.
Oh my gosh.
All right. Well, yeah, you guys can do the renovation.
Hell yeah. No hot showers though, because talk about building gumption.
Oh, you think that creates grit?
Yeah.
Oh man. All right. So let's say company. Tell us what the company does. What was did you pivot like once or twice, or are you sticking with the original plan, or?
Yeah. So we could tell the backstory of how we got to where we are, and then give a nice summary of where we're at now.
Okay.
When we got started with Link Studio, we were very interested in multimodal AI in general. Voice, video. We thought there was a lot of opportunity in AI in general, but specifically multimodal was the interesting modeling problem. That's where there was a ton of green field. Yeah. There wasn't a whole lot of, saturation in the market. And we found an opportunity with the Link team to get into kind of the direct-to-consumer sales space. And our first design partner was in auto insurance. And we realized almost immediately, like, man, this insurance industry that like we knew nothing about is super complex. There's a ton of low-hanging fruit. And we immediately got into essentially voice AI optimizing the sales funnel right at the absolute top of the sales funnel. And you can imagine like in insurance, even at the top of the sales funnel, doing a very simple lead qualification task, there were still extremely technical problems to solve and problems that had extreme enterprise implications for getting them right. Yep. And we didn't get them right from the start, but what we learned is that hyper focus on these small, high value problems is what drives outcomes in the sales funnel. And especially in insurance where the market is like $360 billion in premium every year or something like that.
Yeah, no, it's crazy how big it is.
Yeah. So immediately we were like, okay, we are pivoting into insurance and insurance only. And so we were doing voice AI agents, trying to sell software. We still sell a little bit of software, and we kind of realized like if we can do what we're doing at the top of the funnel, like why can't we do it deeper and deeper into the funnel and try to capture as much of the value chain as possible? And we were having a little bit of trouble like selling into a fragmented market down funnel. You know, the agency space and like the carriers are big and hard to approach. And we were basically like, at some point we were like, why don't we just start our own agency? Like, why don't we try to capture the sale from end to end? And that's kind of where we found ourselves now. We're building out an agency, and we're essentially going to be eating our own cooking using our distribution technology to make the life of a insurance agent really easy. We're going to hire our own internal sales team, and we're going to go basically grow policies faster than anybody else.
Yeah.
The way we like to position ourselves at Vocara, though, is pretty simple. Vocara creates AI native distribution advantages in insurance. And the way that we like to think about this is even small distribution advantages create massive outcomes in insurance just because the market is so damn big. And we think the driving force of how we stay ahead of the game, how we maintain consistent distribution advantages over time is our team, fundamentally.
Yeah. Want to think that?
God, this guy's got it down.
He does. That was pretty articulate.
Yeah. I would just expound that, like as Ethan touched on, our recent direction has been, eating our own cooking, sort of, diving headfirst into that whole like market motif, I guess, that's been emerging of AI enabled services. It's like, okay, we think and we know like we can do this better than anybody else. We can use AI to sell insurance better than anybody else. Why spend the time and the pain selling that to other people when instead we could just use it ourselves and capture, now instead of our TAM being whatever the tens of billions of dollars in like software market and insurance, how about the $180 billion market in agent commissions in just auto insurance alone? And then you look at home and then commercial SMB and et cetera. And so, we're really excited about going in that direction. I think one way we like to put it as well, to touch on the connecting back to the quant thing, is like, Jane Street, they have all these proprietary algorithms of like, high frequency trading or whatever. They're not going off and selling that down the street to Citadel. No, they're actually just straight up using it to trade. And that's sort of like how we think about ourselves in the market.
Yeah. You're touching on a theme I see a lot. If you go way back to when the internet started growing like crazy and I was starting my first company, we ended up getting acquired by a company called Vignette, and Vignette built the websites for Fidelity and Polo and a whole bunch of other big companies. And our philosophy was, hey, why don't we deliver these legacy companies the internet? But then if you look at it in hindsight, Amazon is like, what you wanted to be, or E-Trade or eBay. And the idea that you're going to somehow meet really smart people at this legacy company and they're going to then buy your product because they're really smart, that's a very common MIT trait. Like you just assume there are smart people everywhere. Then you get out in the world and you're like, hey guys, we have this incredible breakthrough. We can use AI to do sales and customer service better than anyone. And they're like, yeah, well, I don't care. And it just drives you nuts. So then you come back to this, well, we must disrupt. There's no choice, but we have to disrupt. It's exactly the same story now with AI that it was with the internet back then. So now it feels like Vocara is on a trajectory to become Amazon. Before it was on a trajectory to become Vignette, Interwoven, Broadvision. I could name all these companies that you're like, who the hell are they? Like, exactly, that's my point. Who the hell are they? So it just feels like a great pivot to me, but you guys must be excited about it.
Yeah, for sure. And I think like another challenge we were running into as well was, obviously the coding agents these days are terrific. You can really go from idea to something that works 80% of the way there really well. And so that kind of like everybody and their mom has a voice AI company and says like, oh, we do this better than anybody else. And so then it's hard to like break through all that noise with all that brand dilution when like you go to a customer and they're like, so why are you better than these guys? And, we give them the whole spiel. This is exactly what we do. We promise like we are just going to out-convert everybody, 1%, 2%, 3%, 4% lift in conversion rate. That's literally tens of millions of dollars that you're leaving on the table by not using us. And they're like, but we just set up like this new A/B test with these 4 other vendors. And it took our engineers 4 months to get all the integrations set up. Talk to us again in 6 months. And so just running into that over and over again, really kind of jades you about like selling software in today's age. And really the other thing there too is like, of course you can get 80% of the way there these days, like, in a weekend, but it's really like the last 20% is really where all the work is. It's like sitting down, actually getting the volume through your system, at scale, discovering it through like this massive amount of data, like where actual conversion drop-offs are, where the AI messes up, where we can improve workflows, et cetera, is what you can actually, make your bread on.
Yeah. Walk me through the competitive landscape actually, because, back in 2022, I interviewed Sam Altman at the Media Lab, and it's funny, we had room for 800 people to come to that event, and like 2,000 came into the building and it broke the fire code for the Media Lab. I don't know if you guys were there for that. But I was saying to Sam, like, this is probably the last time that there'll be a stage interview like this where there isn't an AI participant or an AI avatar. And that was, 4 years ago now. And the technology has been there for years, but it's just not happening in the real world. Like if I call a customer support line right now, 99% chance I'm still talking to a human, which makes no sense. So like what's going on in the market that's slowing everybody down? And then what's the competitive landscape look like?
Yeah, well, first, I think what's slowing everybody down is a sense of like risk aversion or like we don't know what to do type of thing. And what we're doing right now is working. kind of,
Yeah.
and it's like a failure. It's the innovator's dilemma, right? You're just failing to see that next step. But as far as like, especially in customer service, like you're seeing companies like Sierra pop up and do really, really well with some big clients. And we're essentially trying to see that same level of adoption, but in insurance and in the sales funnel.
Yeah.
And, sales is a tougher problem. It's, your top line is more dependent on it. And as a result, people tend to be a little bit more risk averse. And that's why we're seeing this like disrupt versus value chain type of choice happen. As far as the competitive landscape in insurance, we see everything from like the big labs doing kind of forward deployed partnerships into the carriers and stuff like that. We also see like everyone and their mothers trying to start a horizontal voice platform where you can like build what you want on there and like build a nice voice agent that's yours. And like that gets you 80% of the way there. What we're finding is that in the sales funnel, like you need to be at 100% of the way there, because like if you're even converting a couple percent worse than you should be, that's the difference between exponentially scaling customer acquisition and CAC that forces you to flatline. And then lastly, like we do see this suite of companies that I would include ourselves in that are trying to build voice AI for the sales funnel. And we're kind of seeing all of ourselves do the exact same thing, which is pick a customer segment in the insurance sales funnel and go do the whole workflow end to end. Yeah. So like one of the companies that we've had an eye on because we thought they were like a direct competitor of ours when we were trying to sell software, now they're basically starting a commercial insurance brokerage. And we're doing effectively the same thing in personal lines, trying to find the efficiencies where the market has not found it yet.
Yeah. Yeah, so you take on the whole problem, and then what's your final product? A sold policy or
Yes.
Effectively, yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. And then you deliver that to a distributor partner, a carrier partner.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. And then from there forward, the customer service, customer support is on their side, or do you want to take that business back from them too?
I think that it's not necessary, but it's definitely a later optimization that we could totally be in the future. The way that the arrangements typically work, like if you bring that customer service back in-house, you might be able to improve retention, one, but two, like earn some of that margin back from the carrier. Yeah. But yeah, it's all about what drives the most value in the long run. Like, do we want to continue doubling down on the sales funnel or kind of go horizontal across all these workflows? And I think that's an open-ended question, but that's what we love about this space is that we're now in like an execution bottlenecked motion as opposed to a demand bottlenecked motion.
And we love that for us.
Yeah. I mean, and who better team to do that than, 10 MIT engineers out there?
I know. It's actually when we interviewed Eric Schmidt, he kept talking about like when you have product market fit, you know it. You can fake it, but you know it's not real. But when you have it, you really know it. And you come in, you innovate, and it instantly turns into growth. Like there's no friction, there's no begging and pleading, and like it just happens. And that's where Google was. And it feels like you guys are like in that mode now where like the more brilliant you are the day before. Actually, you guys are here every Saturday and Sunday, I noticed too. So like, Saturday night I thought of something, Sunday I implemented it, Monday it's revenue. It's just a totally different motion, like you were saying.
Yeah, and I think we talked about this earlier today, actually. The next 3 months are incredibly important for proving that exactly.
Yeah.
And like we expect to be, like all the technical pieces and business development pieces we think are lining up to the point where the next 3 months are going to be a fun ride.
Yeah,
so,
and it's pretty sick too to sit down and be like, all right, guys, we're going into execution mode on X. Here is the number we're tracking. And then everybody's brain is just so optimized, but like, we got to make that number go up. And everyone just will not sleep until that number starts going up, which is a really fun way to, throw things out in the wild and make improvements fast, iterate, watch things work.
Yeah, it's funny how addictive that is. The foundation model guys are always talking about looking at the loss curve, and, and it gets so addictive just watching it come down and then having an idea and watching it come down. And yeah, it's so much more fun than quant trading or anything like that. So the carrier commissions, just the insurance agent commissions business is $100 billion a year over that in the U.S. alone. So there's a huge pie to go around in just insurance, and then you have mortgage, and you have all these adjacent markets. So when you said there are a whole bunch, like everyone and their mother is trying to build a voice agent right now, how many companies are we talking about?
Well, there are probably dozens, if not hundreds, of like these either people. I would put it into like 3 buckets really. You have like the foundation model labs, I guess, if you count those, because of course, like, you know, OpenAI has their real-time model, Gemini, Grok even.
Yeah.
You have like the horizontal build-it-yourself platforms that are wrapping the foundation model companies oftentimes. I guess a lot of them are training their own models these days, or at least they're
Well,
purporting
to answer that, actually, I'm really curious to know, because you have like a fundamental fork in the road right there. I can try and wrap Anthropic or whatever, or I can pick up an open source model, or I can train something from scratch. Like, what's the right thing to do, or is it still up in the air?
Yeah, I think from what we've learned, there's so much alpha and like distinction to be captured in the application layer itself, and like actually, you know, mining the context, so to speak, out of like these old antiquated workflows where everything's, you know, locked into some agency owner's head who's 65, about to retire. His kid isn't going to take over the agency. He's just going to die with that knowledge. Kind of mining that out and feeding it that into an agent like a foundation model, and really just owning the context there, because of course, like Anthropic and OpenAI are going to spend their $10 trillion and keep hill climbing the base intelligence. So that's kind of the stance we've taken on that.
Yeah, the question really comes down to like what is defensible in the long run, and we see 2 things. One is the models. Obviously, if you have the best model, you're defensible at least for the short term. And the application layer, absolutely, and that's where we've found our value.
Yeah.
The messy middle is like where we've kind of stayed away from it. We had a choice right at the very beginning of when we were starting this company on whether we wanted to get into the application layer, get very involved in, say, like the high value business operations that are actually being impacted by our products, or if we wanted to build the platform that everyone builds on top of. And we decided that there's a lot more defensibility in the application layer itself, a lot more margin to be captured, as opposed to being that thin layer on top of the models and just like optimizing the features for someone else to do the work. Like we would much rather, you know, we keep going back to the team, like as a team of very capable individuals that are, you know, kind of hardwired to optimize things. Yeah. We felt like it was a lot better decision with like team market fit to get into the application layer.
Do you guys use Cursor?
We use right now. I use Cloud Code in Cursor. So
yeah, me too. Actually.
Yeah. I think Cursor is great. So all through college, I was big like anti-IDE guy. Ethan was
just right on a Linux terminal guy.
The Tmux and Vim.
Yeah, we just little Vim goblins. Like keyboard warrior did not want to touch my mouse.
That's awesome.
And then Cursor came out, and for a while, like senior year or like junior senior year, when the model started getting better at coding, back in the dark ages where you had to copy code from your terminal into ChatGPT, copy the output back into ChatGPT. And then I guess Cursor came around, and then it was like, oh wow. At first, like the first month it was out, I was like, dude, this is stupid. Why would I not just I don't care. Like I just want to keep using Vim. But then you try it and you don't have to copy and paste the code anymore. It's like, oh my God, this is exactly this. I get it. Like it's such a small thing, but it saves so much time in the aggregate because you're doing it so often.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think, and then Cloud Code, of course, like in the past 7-8 months has gotten way, way better. So I kind of graduated from straight terminal to Cursor IDE, and then kind of back to Cloud Code. However, the one thing about Cursor that's really good is for when you're like updating code that already exists, where I already have all the abstractions in my head, like, okay, like this module lives here, and I don't want to build a bunch of, just let it go, let it rip loose and build a bunch of slop. Yeah. I love having Cursor in the loop because you can actually see the diffs in real time and be like, okay, so this part changed. So I know like this is where this lives now, which Cloud Code it's great. But then like when it auto applies the diff, it's kind of it's a little bit scary.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's why I bring it up actually, because the Cursor guys are fearless. And I can't tell you how many conversations I had a year ago around, look, Cursor is going to get destroyed because they're not a foundation model company, and the foundation model companies are coming up market, and they're going to wipe Cursor off the face of the earth. And the Cursor guys are like, no, actually the opposite's going to happen. We're going to build coding specific foundation models, and then our application layer logic is going to use best. Yeah, there's a couple things in there. One, it's better, but two, even if it weren't better, the customers are going to want to use something that's agnostic. They're not going to want to be locked into either just OpenAI or just Anthropic. Or if you got locked into just Google, imagine where you'd be today.
Yeah.
So like, okay, that's not viable. So people want to actually have a flexible application layer, but there's nothing that prevents you from building vertical specific LLMs down the stack later once you have a big installed base and lots of revenue. So long story short, the Cursor guys to me are fearless, and the fearlessness paid off. And so many of the MIT teams that I meet, they're not comfortable unless they have some patented technology or some PhD thesis like level breakthrough. But it doesn't matter. Like they get so hung up on that and they miss the forest for the trees. But I think at the application layer, if you can make it work, which is hard enough, it's $100 billion of just commissions.
Huge. I like to map it out in my head. Like, if there's this much being spent on Claude, for example, or tools in general across AI, like there has to be 10x that of value being generated, at least 10x that of value being generated in the application layer. Mm-hmm. So you're going after the biggest pie here. And by the way, the complexity is also the biggest. So when we think about like, what is the North Star in our company and stuff like that, we don't think about it in terms of technology. We think about it in terms of the insurance market.
Yep.
Yeah, I think have you ever seen that like kind of meme where it's like it's the gold rush and there's a bunch of like sales stands and everyone's like selling shovels for 25 cents and there's like a million of them, and then a new guy comes in and he's like, "Hey, you here to mine gold?" And he's like, "No, I'm here to sell shovels." That's kind of how we feel right now. It's like everybody, dev tools are great, and the foundational layer stuff is great. Obviously there's going to be a immeasurable amount of valuable created there. Someone's going to dominate it, or some group of companies is going to dominate it.
Yeah.
However, like at some point, someone's got to mine the gold, and I think that's what we're doing here at Vocara.
Yeah, I think that's right. I'm surprised. Like a couple of years ago, when I was talking to Sam Altman at that MIT event, I was swagging that there's about $500 billion of payroll globally in call centers. It's just monstrous. But at the rate that AI is improving, it should be technically possible to replace all that within, say, 2 years. And that was over 2 years ago. I think the total penetration now has got to be like under 1%. It's just microscopic amount of penetration. And the technology is on this exponentially improving curve. So, at the time I was thinking replacement. Now we're thinking, well, it's actually better. Like the close rate, the customer satisfaction rate, the knowledge, it's just better. And yet still it's massively underpenetrated. So I guess you would attribute that to either fear or bloat in the legacy industry or compliance maybe.
Something we've ran into is a certain amount of like brand risk as well, and that's we've intentionally made choices to stay in areas where the brand risk is less. For example, in certain sales channels and stuff like that might be unbranded, because there's a little bit less of that fear, right?
Yeah.
And like that's where we think our wedge is. And over time, we expect the whole market of sales and customer service over the phone to be voice agents. Yeah. But it's not going to happen overnight. And I think the one thing that we're learning about trying to penetrate the application layer is that, there's real businesses involved, not just technology businesses. And like, it does change the game as far as market adoption goes. Like you go out to Silicon Valley and, it feels like the world is moving at, 100,000 miles an hour every single minute. And it doesn't feel like that in insurance. It doesn't feel like that in financial services, but it might feel like that in 2, 3, 4 years. And like, I think that's where we're going to see AI.
Yeah. I mean, even when we got into this, I was like, dude, who the hell is picking up the phone to buy anything these days? It turns out still a lot of people. And so I think like, to your point about the penetration, I think there are two big challenges. One is, of course, consumer preference. I think over time, people aren't used to AI yet.
Yeah.
In the aggregate, I think that will change over time. As older people go away and
hey, wait a minute. No, that actually is exactly what happened with the internet. Actually,
yes.
People don't change their behavior, but if you're internet native, you're like,
exactly.
Why would I go to I don't want to bash on retail stores, but the point is that you grow into the population, and the new population is totally AI native. Like
Exactly.
If I'm talking, first of all, I'm not talking like this. I'm talking like this. And if I'm seeing a person when I could see an AI that's walking me through much better information, there's no going back once you've experienced it.
Yeah. 100%.
So those people just kind of grow and become the market.
Yeah. And I think a large part of that will be like, I'd imagine, to draw the analogy to the internet, like there were people who never would have adopted it until there was some like workflow in their life they had to do where they had to be on the internet. They shut down the brick and mortar where you couldn't go and do it in person anymore. And I think we're going to see the same thing with like transacting with AI or with AI agents in the medium to long term future.
Yeah. Yeah, there was that whole window of time where auto insurance plummeted 2 years ago. It was a byproduct of COVID. So what happened there is, during COVID, nobody was driving. And so there were no accidents. And because there were no accidents, the insurance carriers had record profits, like obscene profits. But they knew that the cars were getting there are more and more sensors in the bumpers every day. So every little fender bender is like a $1,500 incident, like even a little dent in your bumper because you have to replace the bumper. It's got all these electronics in it. So they knew that was penetrating into the market, but the regulators wouldn't let them change the insurance prices because there are no accidents. So then COVID ends. Everybody's been driving like 90 miles an hour because the cops aren't giving tickets. And everyone starts driving again, and it's like record accidents, and they're really expensive. So then the insurance industry is losing money on every single policy. So they don't want any new policies because they're unprofitable. So all marketing spend goes to zero. So you get this like insurance Armageddon. But during that Armageddon, they kept paying the independent agents because they don't want to do anything that irritates the independent agents. Okay, so that's my lesson. And like they're very sensitive to the agents. Now AI comes along. Like, okay, AI can basically do everything you're doing and the customer's happier. What do I do if I'm a carrier? Like, can I ignore this? Because this is really going to piss off. Like, if I was worried about the agents being pissed off before, now they're really going to be pissed off. So I think that kind of ties their hands. Like, they can't act because of this sensitivity. And you'll probably see that in every market, that there's all this, like, worries about job displacement, worries about pre-existing relationships, right? It's like all these things conspire to create friction, and then AI just doesn't get deployed.
Yeah, no, we keep up with how carriers are thinking about AI quite a bit, and definitely like hands tied is what we see as well. Carriers are thinking hard about how to approach AI and how to approach it in creative ways that like maintains their existing business and relationships, because these insurance is a market that is built on relationships in the first place, distribution relationships, customer service, all this type of stuff.
Yeah. And
I think AI has a real potential to shake things up a lot. And I don't think adoption will happen overnight for that reason. I think there's a lot of nervousness around what this will mean for the future of distribution or customer service or underwriting in insurance. And there's a lot of risk involved. Like, insurance carriers are risk averse by nature. And as a result, like there's definitely quite a bit of thought put into how do we inject this new technology in a way that can be beneficial without all the risk that comes with it.
Yeah. Classic race to be second in this whole industry.
Yeah. So actually, if you crack the code and crack the ice, then everybody follows really quickly. Are you worried about the litany of, it feels to me like the supply demand, like AI hits all markets concurrently. And so, many trillions of dollars of sudden opportunity. And I don't count a huge number of teams. I know you said everyone and their mom is doing a voice AI company, but it's nowhere near as big as the market, even if there are many of them. But do you worry about, like, if you guys crack the ice on this model and you grow like crazy, then everyone's going to copy you?
I think the other reason we found ourselves deep in the application layer is that there are fundamental defensible aspects of the insurance industry. For example, it's a regulated industry. It's an opaque industry as well. People don't understand insurance until you spend years, like kind of blocking and tackling, understanding the potholes and stuff like that. And we're early in our journey in that, but every relationship that we make is another learning experience for us. And what we love about this industry is that there is the low-hanging fruit because it's so opaque it's so not approachable that like it's not common for technical teams to come in and like commit themselves to saying like, I want to find the right way to deliver AI into this industry.
Yeah.
And so as far as defensibility goes, like there's question marks in the air about like in every industry, in every layer of the stack about like what is actually going to be here for the long run. But if I'm a betting man, I would bet number one on regulated industries in industries that move slow.
You agree?
Yeah. Amen.
Yeah, I hear the same thing. Like a regulatory moat is the best moat as long as you can get across it. You know, you get into the medical tech stuff, and it'd be the best moat in the world, but it's like years of delay to get too good of a moat. But yeah, I hear this a lot in insurance, mortgage. That's the sweet spot. Financial advice, that's really good too. And these are all areas, and actually the White House is helping a lot now. Kind of, it's a very pro AI administration, and the race with China helps keep the pressure on. So you're getting a lot of no action letters, a lot of White House air cover. So that applies in these areas. Medical is harder because you don't want people to die, and so they can't really mess with the FDA quite as much. But this area, it's right in the sweet spot.
Yeah, not only is it regulated, but it's like regulated at the state level too. So not only there's not like one insurance code you can look at. It's like you gotta go to 50 different countries essentially and be like, okay, what exactly is different about this?
Actually, that's a good point. Is your go-to-market state by state? Are you rolling out state by state?
Yeah, more or less. I think largely right now we're focused on like the Southeast. They tend to be a little bit friendlier down there.
Yeah.
There's also there's some cooler stuff you can do from the voice AI perspective. We found that like the Southern twang, like that sort of accent. Obviously, like you want to, classic sales 101. You match someone with a salesperson who's like them. So voice is like the obvious place to go. But really, like the Southerners respond much more than any other accent. I think probably because it's just so distinct. Yeah. Everyone knows what a Southern accent sounds like, and I feel like it's a lot more differentiated from the rest of the country.
Yeah. Wait, do you guys have the ability to do any accent, any language? Can you pivot to Spanish on the fly?
Yeah. So we had a good proof of concept of that, where our AI was literally out there speaking Spanish to people that didn't know English. There's a segment of the market where they're looking for auto insurance and they cannot find someone that can speak Spanish, and our AI was able to serve that part of the population.
It's funny because you're from Texas, and one of the weird things to me about Texas is that you've got a Spanish-speaking population, and then the worst Spanish-accented English-speaking. And I don't know if it's deliberate or not, but it's like so. If I'm on a call center and I get an inbound call, I can detect accent instantaneously, but I guess you can pivot to any voice that then matches. Do you do like a male-female, male-male, female-female kind of match too? Like,
we do a lot of testing internally for stuff like that, and I guess that's a trade secret. But I think our process.
Well, I can call enough times with different samples and figure it out.
Yeah, our process for matching is something that like we'll be optimizing forever. So like we'll build out a suite of as many voices as we want, and we're just going to continue doing like a champion challenger for optimizing conversion rates. That's part of how we keep our edge.
Which again, another plus for the application layer. I mean, you look at Facebook, how do they get so big? A/B tests all the time. Everybody always testing something, and we can do the exact same thing with these voice interactions, which in many ways is like a lot more personalizable than how different is that changing one button on a Facebook landing page versus talking to a whole different person over the phone.
What? That totally brings up a question I wanted to ask anyway, which is A/B testing and headcount. So Booking.com is worth, I don't know, like $150 billion. And the entire centerpiece of Booking.com's success is this massive A/B testing infrastructure that they built. And they'll run, hundreds or thousands of concurrent tests. And you can actually see in the URL which test, every session is a test of some sort. But they have 900 people that work in their test grid, and they'll put them in little teams of like one UX person, one core developer, one product manager. It's a little cell, and they have 900 people working on the A/B tests on any given day. So along comes Vocara, but also AI, and you're going to have monster numbers of concurrent A/B tests going on. But now we have AI. So what does that mean for your headcount? Like if you were to get to Booking.com scale, you probably wouldn't need 900 people working on A/B tests. Like, how does that do you have any vision for how that plays out?
Yeah, I think you have 900 clods.
900 clods, yeah. One guy.
Yeah. I think largely like you can break down things into sort of a couple different steps. One is like the inductive piece, like, hey, what are we going to test based on this call, or based on something, either like something we saw on a call, which I guess is more deductive, or some theory I have about the world, like Southerners respond better to Southern accents, for instance.
Yeah.
So there's there's pulling out insights there and actually like figuring out what to test, which can be automated to some degree, right? The deductive piece, especially like right now, is where we've seen success. Not strictly with just A/B testing, but with just like improvements, more like objective stuff, like when the bot breaks in production, like flagging it instantly and like having a theory of how to fix it. Mm-hmm. But that piece is really, really good to do with agents, right? Because they can see like, okay, there's this objective, like here's the call where this happened, and this, and this is the reason I think that this change will be good. So that's selecting the test. And then 2, deploying the test, which obviously, that's a software engineering problem, right? Just having the right CI/CD measures in place.
Yeah.
And then 3 is taking the data at the end of the day and saying, okay, did this work? And so all of those can be automated.
Yeah.
And then fed back to where stuff that obviously doesn't work, you don't even waste human time, human minutes looking at that. But the stuff that might show promise, it's like, okay, we can triage all this, and then every day we have one guy or 2 or 3 guys who are in charge of this area of A/B testing, who can then look at all the best stuff and be like, oh, okay, we should go forward with this.
Yeah, it brings up an interesting point with like how we're thinking about architecting our company in general, or architecting like the people and the roles in our company. Like we've intentionally gone out and hired capable generalists, technical capable generalists, and such that we
You're
can,
talking about MIT Core 6s.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so they're a very specific type of technical generalist, but okay.
Yeah, and so that we can put them where we need them to drive the most value possible. And part of this is like, I spend a large portion of my day now thinking about how like we do something as operationally difficult as running an insurance agency or something like that, and breaking it down into like the primitive abstractions so that like one person can focus on this suite of thing and drive tens of millions of dollars of revenue worth of value. And I think that's one of the measures that as we scale, we're going to be tracking is like, like revenue per employee is like the classic measure here. But even thinking about like in the long run, if we cap our headcount at 10, 11, 12, 15, what is our like total capacity for revenue that we could generate?
Yeah, that's exactly my question. Yeah, what's the answer? Like the Cursor guys got acquired for $60 billion or whatever.
Yeah,
I think they had like 40 or 50 people. Is that right?
Yeah.
It shows you what's possible.
The answer is I wouldn't even dare touch it for fear of underestimating it. But what I can say is like there's a lot of strategy in our company put into how to architect the company in a way that gives us that chance.
Yeah. Yeah, that is the coolest thing ever because it's scalable across like many, many parallel endeavors. So if you ever ran out of, like the idea that you run out of A/B test opportunity just within what you're doing seems like, there's got to be a huge, like I think about the 900 FTEs at Booking.com just doing travel. You could easily have that or maybe that times 10 of AI agents running concurrent tests because you got every conceivable answer to every inbound question in every accent. With every, like, you could insert a joke, you could just answer it straight up. You could, there's just so much, it's like an infinite array of opportunities. So there's going to be lifts in every direction.
Yeah. And how do you craft the tooling to make this a 10x productivity improvement as opposed to scaling linearly with the amount of humans that you have and stuff like that?
So do you think your AI agent bill is going to be bigger than your payroll? What is it right now?
That is, that's a point of contention. We've been recently using Devin Review for like every single PR, and it is incredible for our productivity. We've gotten to the point where we have incredible engineers and armed with all the best programming tools. We've gotten to the point where like we've completely unbottlenecked implementation as like part of the development process. Yeah. The bottleneck is now review and deployment. And I think a lot of teams are probably seeing the same thing. And so part of the way that we've gotten around that is we've leaned heavily into Devin, Claude, like these types of, specifically like the review tools here. And they've been great. They've helped unbottleneck things. QA has been better.
Yeah.
But the bill has gone through the roof. And like, man, if there's one product that has like extreme product market fit with our company right now, it's Devon Review. So
yeah, which is crazy because like, you know, I remember trying it 8 months ago or whatever, or maybe 10 months ago. And I was like, dude, this is a total waste of time and money.
Yeah.
And then like one day, like one of our engineers just turned it on and it actually caught a bug in a PR that like I missed. And I was like, oh, okay, it's actually doing stuff now. To answer your question about the bill though, the other thing, I feel like we're kind of ending the era of subsidization. It feels like, you know, Anthropic is kicking everyone off their, you know, the $200 a month plan. It's like, no,
were you guys actually using that still? Like, they're kicking you
however,
off. I got
the one
booted.
exception is Google, because I guess they just have oogles of cash, and like their startup credits is like, if you can stomach using Gemini, which
can you? I don't.
Well, for like,
yeah.
when you, I mean, there's a scale of intelligence you need for any given task. So for like more simple stuff where you're just plugging in, say you have like a workflow where it's just like one, maybe like classification problem or something, like, you know, put this into one of these buckets. You can throw like a pretty cheap tiny model on that. Yeah, but where it really gets you is developing when you have 8 guys out there cranking on 10 Claude codes all at once all the time.
I never thought about that actually, because right now if I I'm on Opus 4.8, but if it's a simple problem, I'll go down to like Sonnet or Haiku. But I never thought I could actually go over to a Gemini subscription account and then live within the $200 a month.
Oh yeah,
that's brilliant.
Model selection's a big deal too, especially you really appreciate this when you think about like the voice agent pipeline and how like latency is a legitimate thing that matters in voice agents that doesn't matter as much when you're hacking around in Claude Code with an agent harness, right?
Mm-hmm.
And what we're seeing is like as the big labs have been putting out like eval breaking model after eval breaking model,
yep.
You also see like the first token latencies going up and up and up.
It's killing me.
Yeah.
It's absolutely killing me.
And so
and it's not technically necessary. It's just they're just so overloaded with demand.
Yeah.
It's like, yeah. Actually, you know where that really kills me? You tell me, but if I'm working on something and it's mentally taxing, and I just need to stay focused on it, I can't because there's like 3 minutes of lag before I get an answer. So then I have to multitask. If I try and multitask with like 3 agents on the same problem, then they all collide at Git. And so it wants you to work on 3 unrelated things, but that's the worst thing for your brain. You know, it's just really mind-numbing that we have to live this way, but it's because they're sold out. They're just absolutely tapped out.
Yeah, no, there's undeniably more demand than supply for tokens right now, and like.
Well, right now, but like, do you think that's ever going to change?
No.
Yeah, so it's like now and the rest of all time.
Yeah,
like,
until we start, you know, tiling the whole Earth with data centers and put them up in space and then wrap the sun. And
have you thought about like, well, you think about scale. Like right now, you got these really weird. Like, if you're big enough, you can get Fable or you can get GPT 5.6 because you're one of the 20 companies that's been blessed. We're like, well, that's so un-American, right? Like, that's the most un-American thing I've ever heard. Like, you have to be over this scale. But then if you say, well, look, also if Vocara gets big enough, fast enough, I can get reserve instances of my own GPUs. And then I don't have to deal with this 3-minute delay, you know, assuming that I actually get the best models on those GPUs, so Bedrock or whatever. But like this rich get richer thing is getting really big and significant and kind of un-American. Mm-hmm. But you got to get there. Like I don't care if it's un-American or not. You got to get there fast. Otherwise, you're frozen out. You're frozen out of the tokens. You're frozen out of the GPUs. You're frozen out of whatever. It just feels like there's a race on now that you just have to get there now. You feel the same way?
Yeah, no, absolutely. Yeah, no, we feel it every day. And like, there's things you can do in the medium term to engineer around unavailability and stuff like that. But you're totally right. You just need to outgrow. You need to outgrow the lack of supply. Yeah.
Do you guys, for your internal development, use any of the Chinese models, GLM or anything like that? Just for the speed? Or
we have mostly been on Claude models primarily for trust reasons. Like, it really comes down to that. Like, our big bottleneck is review and QA. It's not efficiency. Like, we not only are our engineers really great without AI, like with AI, they are 10x, 100x engineers. Mm-hmm. And so like we've gotten to a point where like the problem is not whether we can write enough code. It's whether we can get it into production with high quality.
Not blowing everything up.
Yeah, in a way that's going to maintain our sales conversions and like keep the top line what the top line's going to be.
So what about the AI bill? Is it going to cross, like, we're right now it's summer 2026. By the end of the year, do you think the AI bill will be bigger than the human bill?
Right now we're probably sitting at, well, I mean, the Google subsidy does help quite a bit, especially for the production workflows. But for development, we probably have like close to one extra employee, one extra engineer salary on our bill. I think we expect that to grow to 5 to 6 by the end of the year, and then
headcount will be 20 or something like that.
Yeah.
Something
So
interesting
6 out of 20. So you're getting close to 50-50.
Yeah. Something interesting that I've noticed empirically is, it might not actually be interesting. It might just be in my head.
That was a great preamble to something.
Token
Okay,
spend is scaling linearly with headcount with numbers of software engineers, and this scales all the way to like the biggest enterprises in the world. But I don't think productivity is scaling linearly necessarily. And so like you see these big enterprises thinking about how they're spending on tokens and thinking about cutting back, going to cheaper models, stuff like that. And it's because like what everyone is really looking for is output out of their tokens, not just to spend, right? Yeah. And this goes back to like how you architect a company in an AI native way. Like when we think about token spend per engineer, like we really care about output per engineer at the end of the day, and like we're willing to spend for more output.
Yeah. Actually, I think the the nonlinearity that you're referring to is really accentuated by these long-running loops and the ability to like this is brand new to the world. Like that was physically not even a thing. 3 months ago, 2 months ago, and now it's like okay, that's super nonlinear, right? Like you can build entire functional modules. And right now you inherit a ton of bugs and a ton of problems, but you got to figure by the end of the year, you're describing Devin finding most of the bugs. Like by the end of the year, this is going to be like full on work for a week, and bring me back something totally functional. Or within your A/B test infrastructure, I don't know, run 10,000 tests and then check back in with me. Yeah, go figure it out. Yeah, it gets pretty wild. Do you do any third-party data append to help the?
Oh yeah,
absolutely.
Because that's kind of endless too, right? Like everything you add is going to add some kind of lift.
Yeah. So we have one guy in charge of all of our pre-filling and making sure the data quality is all good.
Yeah.
And it's been a very interesting exercise. Also, like figuring out how to like inject new context into a live voice agent that's like having a natural conversation with the consumer.
Yeah.
And like being able to pick up that new context and not like freak out about this new like data injection, that was a whole exercise. And then obviously, like the quality of the risk is really a function of the quality of your data input in insurance. And so like making sure that is squeaky clean all the time is top of mind. But yes, absolutely. We like to say our AI is the best pre-filler. So
yeah, we used to have a ton of problems with partial data. Like there's all these data sources out there that can help with a conversation or help with pre-pop, but they don't have perfect coverage. And so back in the old days, 3 years ago, 2 years ago, we used to dump it all into SQL databases, but the SQL databases are terrible when there's a bunch of missing rows. So then you write these incredibly ornate queries to try and fill in. But now you just say, you know what, AI, just deal with partial data. It loves partial coverage data. If something's there, it'll use it. If it's not there, it just moves on, and it's just seamless.
No, it's super like database work or just like data lookup within like this new AI world. Super interesting how this has happened because you went from like deterministic SQL queries to like RAG, and now even RAG is gone, and now like the state of the art is just like throwing an LLM on it. So like when we think about like how an AI can like review a policy document, for example, like why would you ever like vectorize it and run?
Let me ask you actually. So RAG, as a topic came and went in a hurry. But do you guys use a vector database for anything?
Not at all.
That's just kind of vanished from.
Yeah. Now it's just like search is just better.
Yeah, I mean it's just. I mean all the models have been RL to hell to use the command line and SQL for that matter. And so like now you just have a SQL skill. You give it a little file system, let it say give it a directory. Here's where everything is, and like. I mean, that's exactly what the OpenAIs and Anthropics are optimizing for. And it just kind of, like the whole vector lookup thing is really cool. I mean, obviously we're all technical engineering guys. It's like, oh wow, you can align everything in this abstract embedding space, and then everything is just a thing of numbers that you can look up. But it turns out to just kind of be overkill when it's like, oh yeah, or you could just train a model in like this verifiable way to just use a computer how humans have been using it, but a lot better, a lot more accurate.
And do you think, because we're going to be token and compute starved for the rest of time, do you think we're giving up any performance in that process, or do we need to go back and like rethink all of the prompts and all the ways we're kind of using AI and abusing it a little bit? That's all fine, but then if we're token starved, we might want to go back, have the AI clean up that too. I don't think you'd bring back a vector database, but do you feel like there's like what fraction of all of your AI spend is waste?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think it's one of the tough questions that the whole AI world is going to have to address in the long run.
Yeah.
Because like when you think about the inefficiencies all the way even down to like the hardware level, like what is GPU utilization on any given machine? It's like, it's not 100%.
Oh my God.
So we're underutilizing every single machine.
Maybe a couple of digits, like 2%, 5%, realistically.
And then we're definitely overutilizing tokens on every harness loop, right?
Yep.
And then, even at the
those are multiplicative of that stack
exactly.
too. If you're like 5% utilization here and 5% there, you got to multiply them.
Yeah,
it's like crazy
and so,
inefficient.
I wouldn't even put a number on it, but like there's definitely going to be some engineering to be done to like maximize our utilization over the long run.
I mean, and you think about like at this point, it's been like 18 months since I've actually like written code with my 10 fingers. Like even like there'll be the stupidest things like, hey, I see this bug. Can you write this for loop like this? And it's like throwing literally a jet engine at like lighting a candle. It's like Opus will go off for like, a minute and then change one line. It's like, oh, thanks.
Yeah. It does feel like it's bloating up its output tokens.
Mm-hmm.
As you see Anthropic's revenue go from 40 to 60 billion, but like I didn't need that many words in this one line change. Like you gave me a whole PhD thesis, but you're charging me by the token.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Like this is it definitely feels like
it's interesting.
Yeah, I don't know. I really doubt they designed it that way, but I'm sure the AI is optimizing their business just like every other business. And so it may have figured out on its own, like, that's pretty good for revenue. Let's go ahead and throw this back at these guys.
Yeah, and that comes back to like, I think the importance of, like we touched on earlier, of like selecting the right intelligence for the job. Like for instance, we can throw a Gemini 3.1 flash on like, hey, look at this call transcript and tell me if X, Y, or Z happened and output some JSON deterministically, or not deterministically, but in this like very structured format of whether or not this happened. Can be done like with a relatively dumb model for cheaply. Whereas, now we get into, hey, Claude, here's a spec, or here's not even a spec. Here's what I want to do. Just go do it and test it and just keep going /goal. Keep doing it until it works.
/goal. Probably say that a lot now. /goal. Yeah. Hey, a geeky question for you. Is Git breaking for you all over the place like it is for me?
All the time. It's so frustrating. It's also, it's interesting because for the longest time, I was trying to figure out like, why is this simple application breaking all the time? Mm-hmm. But it's just every agent in the world is out there just pushing more and more and more code, probably like 1000x what existed like 6 months ago or something like that.
Yeah, I think it was obviously designed for human, pull requests and not AI, just massive volume. But also the number of agents working on one little narrow part of the code. People don't work that way. But the AI wants to work that way, especially with the 3-minute delay. You want to get like 5 agents working on it. So then it's all trying to push to main the exact same stuff. It just breaks. It's just fatally messed up.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And that's too bad. Like Nat Friedman, our MIT classmate, he used to be in charge of that and he would be fixing it right now. But he went over to Meta for the insane pay package. So now I don't know who's working on it, but it feels like, I don't know, man. Are you guys going to move off Git? Or are you going to, or is it just not that big a problem?
It hasn't gotten that bad for us yet to where like it's been worth it to put any resources into it. It is funny though, like you go try to look at their uptime page, it doesn't exist. It's like if you look up GitHub uptime.
Oh man, I remember they lost the last 9 at one point.
I was like, all right, well, we're not showing this to anybody.
Oh man. All right, well, that's good. I feel like I'm confirmed that I'm not the only one experiencing this, so that's cool. So how's your Link Ventures journey been? How did we meet in the first place? I always start there.
Yeah, I think
So Mike from Link was a baseball alumni, actually.
That's right.
Right.
And I had torn my labrum at that point, so I wasn't playing ball at all, but I was hanging around the field. And Mike came to an alumni event and struck up a conversation with me. I had already been thinking about starting something and really trying to figure out how to get started. I think getting started is the hardest part.
Yeah.
And struck up a conversation with Mike and Mike presented an opportunity that was intriguing. And we followed up. Drew and I met you then, and we talked a lot about just the opportunity in AI, and we were incredibly excited leaving the meeting. And we were like, okay, we're doing this. We don't know where or what or with whom yet, but we're gonna do something. And so we all turned down job offers, and we're starting a company.
That's cool.
And then we found ourselves working with Link, and Link was able to give us the guidance that we needed as 22-year-olds to go discover some real industries that are worth something, not not like the small industries that you're familiar with as a college student. And then we blocked and tackled for the next year or so, and now we're here. So
all right, rock on, man.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah. Great. Also, the space has been huge too. I mean, just having a place to go, and obviously there's a lot of we got the Mercado guys across from us. We got La Tech, everyone else in the building. It's a great place where everybody's kind of like-minded, and you can go in and relate to them. Has been really, really helpful as we've gotten this company off the ground.
Well, a lot of the topics we were just talking about, hey, is Git breaking for you? What models are you using? They're generic to all AI companies. So, I was really impacted by that Drew Houston commencement speech. He gave the commencement address. I think it was 2017, so before your time. But I thought it was the best one ever because it's an actual MIT alum. He started Dropbox. He took it public. But he's talking about, starting the company on the roof deck of his frat with his, his best friend. But he said, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. Whether you want to or not, you're going to become the average of those 5 people. And so to me, the corollary to that is never break up a great band. It doesn't matter if you don't have the perfect business plan yet. If you guys all go take jobs in different cities, it's almost impossible to get the timing right to get back together. So you have a great group. You just got to stick together no matter what.
Yeah, we've seen that even in our own recruiting journey for trying to pull some of our best friends to come work for us. It's just so much easier when someone is in Boston or New York to bring them back to Boston and work on something with a common vision than if they're in LA or San Francisco.
Yeah.
You get someone in California and you give them a recruiting call in December. You're like, hey, we're doing this really cool thing. That we obviously you're our boy. We know you'd be great. But then they're sitting there. They're like, oh yeah, I'm sitting in the sand right now watching the waves coming in. We're outside. The wind's coming in sideways. Get pale, melting in the face. It's like, oh yeah. That's always tough. But then when you got even someone in New York who's got a really cushy finance job, it's like, hey, just 3 hours up the train. I mean, we already see you every month because we're down there constantly. Why not take the leap? It's not too far from where you are right now.
Yeah, I always tell the teams, try to get to at least 10, 15 people in Boston. Whether you're from MIT or Harvard, Northeastern, stay close to wherever you came from until you get to 10 or 15 people. Then decide where do you want to be. You can move to Silicon Valley, you can move to New York. There probably aren't, maybe Austin. There aren't too many other places you want to go. I like it when the teams stay here like Blitzy, but they don't, the Silicon Valley teams are killing it too. Mm-hmm. So it's all good, but you got to get critical mass of people first. And it's so much easier to do when you can walk to campus. Boston's really unique too, in that everything is bikeable or walkable. You go to Silicon Valley and it's Berkeley's way the hell over there. Stanford's way down in the valley and the city's in the middle. The talent pool is all scattered around. So adding new people to your company gets so much harder, when you're outside of Boston.
Yeah. We're definitely super blessed with our talent pipeline here. It's definitely a lot easier when it's you bring in interns or you bring in kids over IAP and over January. It's hey, you're going to be on campus anyways. You want to come work on this project in my company and see what's up. We'll pay you pretty well. Whereas out in Silicon Valley as well, there's obviously a lot higher density of these AI startups. So it's also it's way more competitive to try to, recruit all the best talent out there. Whereas here it's like, in Boston, there are fewer names in town, although that is changing. It's a growing
well,
place.
it's but the numbers are staggering because the risk in the Valley is not the other startups. There are thousands of them, but it's the fact that Google, Meta, and Apple take thousands and thousands of people, and they also drive up the starting comp package, which the startups can easily beat that with equity. But if you have a lot of student debt or your parents are like leaning on you to like, it's really hard then to compete. Like Apple will offer you like $800,000 or something like that. And you're like, Jesus, how do I turn that down? So that rips a lot of the talent out of the Valley. And so then what's left, the startups are everywhere, but there's so much capital out there, especially with these new, the IPOs that are upcoming. It's like, here's 9 trillion or 10 trillion of fresh liquidity.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing on the planet that's even close to that. So that's, basically the Silicon Valley, San Francisco is the new financial hub of the world by far. And people haven't really gotten their head wrapped around that. And Boston is still the talent hub of the world. And so I feel like that JetBlue Mint flight back and forth is going to be the best product in the history of the world.
They give you a nice snack on the way too.
Yeah.
So you think you guys, like 2 years from today, are you in Boston? Are you in some other city? Or
Yeah, I think we're in Boston to stay.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
I think the biggest thing for us is just like having this constant stream of talent where we can be the example of what it means to pool a bunch of talent together coming out of MIT and building towards something common. And like we're finding that like when you start building this culture, this ball that's rolling that doesn't seem to be stopping, like people want to join you along the way. Yeah. And we have that pull out of MIT now with our groups that we know of. And like I think we would be stupid to leave.
That's not to say though, I could see us having a satellite office out in SF, just, get as close to OpenAI or Anthropic as possible, put a billboard out front or something.
Yeah.
But I think HQ will be here to stay.
I actually like that game plan a lot because I think, again, a lot of the best investors, the late stage investors, like the A16Z, Sequoia, General Catalyst, they're all out there. And they don't cross the Mississippi. They literally, like, they don't own a winter coat anymore. They're just not, they just can't suck it up and come east.
Yeah.
So it's good to have an office out there and I'm out there like 1 week a month, basically. And then also you can network over to Mercor, over to Anthropic, over to OpenAI. They're very receptive if you're physically there, but again, they'll never come to you.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be out there a lot, but then build most of your culture here. People here tend to be very gritty, and you guys grew up. You didn't grow up in like a country club. You both went to public high school, right? Yeah. In Maryland and Austin. So it's the grit factor matters a lot in a startup. Something's always going to be. I know you guys are here a lot of Saturdays and Sundays, maybe all of them. And it's much easier to find that around here than it is out in the Valley, I think.
My logic is if someone went to a school like MIT and still decided to bang heads on the weekend for fun,
that's pretty good filters.
That's a good filter for grit. You could probably get the job done.
Yeah. So what's your perfect life journey? Like if everything works, you want to be a serial entrepreneur, you want to like retire young, you want to be a venture capitalist after a couple of big wins? Like what would be the perfect life?
It's funny. Drew and I talked about this our sophomore summer when we were both interning at Red Hat, actually.
Oh, yeah. The good old days.
We got like totally just drawn to the open source community and kind of like this ideal world where like the future of technology is open. And like I'm observing personally how that plays out in a world of AI, closed models, open weights, open tooling at the very minimum, and like how open source plays a role in a future where everything is AI native.
Yeah.
My dream is to be a part of that, to be an impactful part of that open source community. I think a lot like Linux and a lot of the tooling that came with operating systems all the way into like containers and the cloud and stuff like that, you're going to see a similar way of like treating LLM infrastructure as a platform for everybody to build incredible vertical applications and stuff like that. People that don't know AI, people that just like people back then didn't understand the Linux kernel or something like that.
Yeah.
But there's opportunity now because AI is being treated as a platform and not just as like another tool. I would love to be a part of that journey. And
Like
moving that.
behind the scenes part of that, or like everybody in the world knows Ethan Siegel. He's like got this Carpathy level GitHub, and everybody's using it.
Yet to figure that one out.
All right,
but yeah, no, I see myself as always being in the code in some way. I think, I mean, I think it's part of the ethos that you build as someone coming out of MIT is the want to build, and I think I'll be building forever for sure.
What's the perfect Drew Ross trajectory?
Well, step one, grow Vocara into a giant, and then from there, I mean, honestly, my favorite part of this thus far has just been having the outlet to sort of be creative, bring something into the world that new. And so, as far as beyond this, not entirely positive yet, but I know it's going to be something similarly creative, and that very well maybe starting more companies. I mean, because it is kind of addicting too. I mean, you've been doing this your whole life, but it's tough. Sometimes it can be tough to to think about other things when it's like oh my God, I mean, we're honestly just pretty blessed. Like, we graduated out of school at like the perfect time, at the biggest transformation in human history, arguably.
Yeah.
Capital markets are heating up.
I don't think there's any argument. I think
Core 6 MIT, get to go out, hire all our friends. I literally come in every day. It's like, it's pretty tough to not come in with a smile when it's like you got eight of your buddies there, and everyone's all aligned on the same goal, all creating together, all out there, figuring it out. So I think, something equally as creative.
What's amazing for me is, regardless of whether you do one company together or you end up doing two or three, or you end up becoming an investor or whatever, it's really clear to me that you're going to inspire and mentor the next generation. And, you guys are right in this age sweet spot where you're at peak IQ, peak fun, and AI is just booming. But it's, like the first or second inning of AI. So you've got the whole game in front of you. The next wave, the guys that are coming in as freshmen right now, they're going to be late to the party, and it's going to be confusing and chaotic. And I don't even know, nobody knows what to expect. But it's really comforting to know that guys like you will have already succeeded, and you'll be there to at least try to help, and try and tell them what the next thing is. So many people come to me right now and say, what's the perfect business plan that won't get crushed if AI reaches IQ once? It's such a hard problem.
Be telling people,
be like a geese farmer or something.
I'm a firm believer. Nobody can quite predict it, but the economy is going to grow so much and so quickly that if you're in the game, you're going to succeed. The odds are so in your favor if you're just in the middle of it, and so many people are afraid to get into the middle. They're hanging around the periphery because they. The worst is if you just finished law school, so you're totally invested in it, and you feel like you have to follow through on it. The best thing you can do is ignore the fact that you just finished law school and get right back into the middle of AI. Yeah. But it's hard, emotionally hard, but you guys are.
Definitely. Yeah, and that's why it almost goes two ways. For the perfect timing for us, like you were saying, we're not late to the game, we're not freshmen right now. But also it goes the other way, we didn't graduate 3-4 years ago into that cushy tech job or into a quant fund.
The rolling vesting at Google right now would be killing you. You'd be like, shit, I can't walk away. But
and we're even seeing that we have friends. One very specific example comes to mind of two guys who are older than us in Deke, and they both had these finance jobs. One was on track to have some a great year, start heading up the hedge fund.
Yeah.
They just left it all on the table. They were like, what he said was, he was like, man, I go to work every day and I'm a professional watcher of the world. And I was like, damn. And so they're like, all right, they just both quit their jobs right then and went off and started something.
Is it working out?
Yeah. They just raised a huge round down in Texas. Yeah.
Link was involved in that round. Actually.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know who you're talking about. Is it podcastable? Is it secret? Who are we talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Two deep guys.
We could
Yeah,
cut it
like-
out. It's
yeah.
even platforms.
Oh yeah. Okay.
John and Joey.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
deep guys.
yeah.
Yeah, Joey, man, he's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a more common story because you're going to inspire a lot of people who are like you're going to inspire the younger guys, but also the guys that are exactly in the boat that you're talking about that are like either Meta or Google employees or Apple employees right now that are trapped in the vesting cycle.
Yeah.
Once they see your
yeah.
numbers, they'll be like.
And
yeah,
we've even
I got
talked
it.
to people like not in the like we're trying to branch out and get some more like insurance native talent on the team right now. And even like talking to some candidates there, they're like you know, are like, hey, like why a startup? Why not just like you have all you're consulting right now? Like 'cause everybody's a consultant once you have all that insurance travel knowledge.
Yeah.
And a lot of them are like, hey, like to be honest, like if you're not involved with AI right now, what are you doing? And like these are guys who are not technical at all, lifetime like insurance to the bone.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's
that's a great call to action actually, and we can push it out to some of the insurance executives. But there's a guy, I won't name him here, who's a banking executive who got involved early with Blitzy. And, he's helped them. Like these guys, they're really smart, but they don't know a legacy industry. And, of course, there are plenty of executives who spent like 30, 40 years in that industry. They know all about the industry, but they don't know anything about AI. So it's like a match made in heaven. But this guy, he kind of got all in. He's been here in the building a whole bunch, and he has advisory shares in the company. And it reminds me a lot of actually John Jarvie, who was the co-founder of Menlo Ventures on the board of MIT. He said, I made more money on Anthropic, just the one deal, than my entire career. My 30, 40-year career is less than one deal. Can you believe that? It's like, yeah, well, that's what's happening right now with AI. So if you're an insurance executive and you become an early Vocara adopter and advisor and just help like understand, because, you guys have to go state by state, right? So you probably need lots of advisors because it's freaking different regulatory quagmire in every single state. What a great opportunity that is for somebody who otherwise has no AI involvement. It's like help Vocara.
Yeah.
Get some warrants or some advisory options and
Yeah, absolutely. Across every customer segment too. Like selling insurance to high net worth individuals or businesses is a lot different than selling to people that own one car and rent their home. Right?
Yeah.
And like there's, carriers specialize in different directions, and like we think we can create value for everyone, but
well, if
it's almost like
someone
where to
out there
focus.
hears that audio clip that you just said and they're exactly that person, how do they contact you? How do they reach out to you?
Go to https://vocara.ai and fill out our contact form. I got a story to tell.
All right.
Speaking of dev tools back in the day.
Let's speak about dev tools.
Yeah. So I mentioned that we had worked on that LoRa kernel project in our GPU class.
Mm-hmm.
And this was right around the time that like using AI to write software was becoming a legitimate thing, but not to the point where it was like the cool thing yet with like, Cursor being like a super branded application, or like this was well before Cloud Code. It was like literally GPT-4 and ChatGPT, and we were like copying and pasting code and specs and stuff, and like getting code out and then copy pasting into our Tmux and Vim terminals or something like that. And I remember Drew and I spent like a couple days working on this design for this fused LoRa kernel that was supposed to optimize the LoRa process for like large matrices by like, 100x or something like that.
100x.
And I was like, all right, we have the design down. I'm just going to like not sleep until I implement it. And like a day and a half later, we had something that was doing like 100x. And then Drew was like, this is like GPT-4 and ChatGPT, like the app, not even like in an IDE yet. And Drew was like, how'd you do that? I was like, AI. And then since then, it's like literally we haven't not used AI for anything since. Like that was the point for me where it was like, okay, this is like really legit. And it wasn't like unnatural to do so. And that's something that to use AI for software development, stuff like that. And like when we talk about like being blessed to be graduating at the time that we are, that is an unbelievable advantage. And like everyone graduating after us as well has that advantage. and everyone, 5 years before us doesn't have that. And I think when you think about like writing software in that way, but also building companies in that way or living life in that way, it definitely is night and day.
Yeah. No, I think you guys are the exact perfect age. How long ago was that, Laura? Thing?
That was our senior fall. So that would have been 2020, the year's
Four? Yeah.
Fall 2024.
Fall 2024.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's amazing how much it's changed.
Oh yeah.
Like
It's crazy.
coming up on 2 years from that date.
Yeah.
Well, even I remember like when we had just like began like in the early days of Vocara, which I mean, arguably we're still in the early days, but in the really early days, I guess with AI, that's not necessarily true. But I remember something came up about reasoning models and like O1S stuff, and we were talking about it, and I was just shocked. There was like, oh yeah, O1 came out like 3 months ago. I was like, it feels like it's been around for 2 years.
Yeah,
no,
it's a warp. It's an exponential time warp.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, 01, then 03, and now 4.8. Did you guys get any time with Fable before they turned it off?
I had one chat with it, and I asked it about the macro economy, and it thought for like 10 minutes and then gave me something, and then they turned it off. I came back to it and it was turned off.
Just enough time to build a bunch of bioweapons, bugs.
Yeah, right.
A nuclear reactor on the way.
Well, it's funny. I had a day unfettered access. Then it nerfed me for a day because I was asking it to build neural networks. And it's like, sorry, that's on the banned list.
Yeah.
And then it came back for a day, which was weird. And then it was gone. And now Polymarket says it'll probably be back in 2 weeks or so. But there's no guarantee it'll be the same thing.
Yeah.
So,
You got to go to your local AI office and give them your license and register.
yeah. I mean, that's inevitable, right?
Yeah.
That's actually another advantage for you guys. I mean, you think about how lucky you are to be born in America. I don't know. I guess you guys appreciate it, which is nice to see. But it's crazy. It's overwhelmingly likely that, it'll come back, but it's going to be some form of American citizens only for a while, and then it's going to be fill out, like you said, some form. It'll be similar to TSA pre, if you guys have TSA pre, fingerprint, thumbprint, and then also all of your prompts will ultimately get monitored, which is all fine. It's gonna, like, how else are you gonna keep the world safe? But it's gonna limit the playing field, and you'll be inside that playing field. A lot of other people, like, there's startups around here where they're on whatever visas, H-1 visas or whatever. They don't know. They literally don't know if they're going to be inside or outside. Think about how that must feel.
Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, I guess you just got to see how well the models can get distilled. I guess, like, did you see, like, I think it was GLM 5.2 maybe?
Yeah.
Like, it was doing pretty good. I mean, it's so...
You know what's crazy about that to me is its capabilities are unbelievable. But you don't know if it's going to code inject on you. You don't know. It only takes one line of JavaScript and you're like screwed.
Yeah.
And so the knee-jerk reaction for an MIT guy is, well, I'll look at the code. But then the volume is like, no, I'm not going to look at the code.
Yeah.
So then I have to literally trust it. Like, can I trust it or not? No, man.
Yeah, there's a lot of things like that. We're just going to have to like watch how they play out. Something interesting about a lot of like the Chinese open weights models is like how good some of these neo labs that are like building their own chips and stuff have gotten at optimizing these for GPU utilization on their chips specifically.
Yeah.
That's just not something that you see with the closed weights models yet. And so you look at like the time to first token numbers and the throughput on like the latest Kimi model or the latest Z model, and like some of these things are super impressive. And we talk about like the GPU utilization that we're leaving on the table right now. Like that is definitely one avenue for hyper efficiency.
I tell you, it wouldn't surprise me if you guys, I mean, you got to go to market first and get big first, but you guys have experience in LoRa and distillation. It wouldn't surprise me at all if you build your insurance conversation specific model. And if you do that, and I know this sounds wacky, but then, do you go and build custom chips? And you're like, well, we don't know. Like, AI will design chips based on your algorithm within a year. And so it's like almost like a compiler, but what comes back is a custom chip.
Yeah.
So it's not out of the question that you end up with an entire data center that's Vocara, insurance specific or whatever market
That would be
specific
so
conversation.
sick. That would be an awesome world to live in.
I
And
think
who
it's
knows,
likely.
if the supply demand stays the way that it is, who knows what could make sense from a vertical integration point of view.
Yeah.
Because, it's an unpredictable world when it comes to token supply for sure.
Yeah, it is. It is. And there's a factor of 100 of efficiency or more just waiting to be had. So in a token-starved world, you're not going to leave that on the table in the long run. It just becomes such a cool, and I think you can get it all done with 20 people, 30 people, which is right in the fun zone.
Yeah, that's the dream.
It's one football team. Founding of company to $7 million capital raise in under a year, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, do you realize how unprecedented in the history of the world, the fact that that's possible?
It's our first time doing it, so we're kind of just smelling the roses. But I will say, we kept the focus on building the company and positioning the company in the right way. Mm-hmm. And we actually weren't intending on raising at all when we did end up going through our fundraising process. And I think it made it a lot easier for us because we just didn't understand how valuable of a team we were building in-house and the market position that we were creating for ourselves. Mm-hmm. And to go out to Silicon Valley and, be in front of investors that talk to companies every single day and for them to be excited about what we were doing and us as founders, us as people, that was a lot of validation. It was a lot of great, it was definitely confidence inspiring for us. And we were able to take that next step as a company, which, fast forward around 6 months now, it's definitely changed the way that we do business. We've leveled up, with that capital, we were able to go out and make the hires that we needed to assemble the early team that's going to go win this market. Think about how we're going to get to the next fundraise that's going to be, exponentially larger, all that kind of stuff. It definitely puts you in a different playing field.
It's cool to hear. Are you going to go back to Sandhill Road for the next fundraise?
We'll make our rounds. Say what's up to all our friends out there.
When you were out there before, did you even have a PowerPoint deck, or you just and you got the deal done? That is so unprecedented in history. This is why people are insane. Not your MIT classmates or a year behind you. If you're not part of a startup right now, you're utterly insane. The idea that you can go, take a shopping bag, go up and down Sandhill Road, come back with $7 million, no PowerPoint deck. I mean, that is something you just can't throw that away. You just got to do it, right?
Oh yeah. I mean, there's no better time than right now to put yourself out there for sure. And it's uncomfortable, leaving school and immediately jumping into building a business where every decision you make is make or break kind of. Yeah. But you learn and it's uncomfortable, but when you're doing it with your friends, it's not that big of a problem. You learn together, mm-hmm. You punched in the mouth a couple times and you get some of that Boston grit and you keep going. Yeah.
I think also doing it podcasting like this and getting the word out on what you're doing helps a ton because, people who are interviewing or they're coming in to meet you, they walk up to you and they're like, Drew, how are you? You're like, do I know you? You're like, yeah, no, but I saw your podcast. It's such a force multiplier. So, and it's also uncomfortable for a lot of people until you get used to it. And I don't know, you guys are just a natural, so maybe it's not uncomfortable for you.
Yeah, I'm starting to bug out from all the lights in here, though. To go from staring at a monitor all day to
you got a lot of radiation today. Burn out your retinas. Well, this has been awesome, guys. So hey, thanks for doing the pod.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Super cool. Anytime you want to do it again, any news or anything like that, let's just get back in the room and keep doing it. And I learned a ton today. Actually, our whole conversation around Git and Laura and Devin. I'm going to take advantage of that. So it's been really cool. This is awesome.
Sweet.
Great, guys.
Thanks, Dave.
I think you're going to love it.